Have you ever stepped into a cemetery after sunset, where the silence isn't peace, but a warning? In today's video, you'll hear 5 chilling true stories, all of which happened in seemingly harmless cemeteries. From shadowy figures behind windows, to voices echoing from beyond, each tale is a grim reminder. You are never truly alone in a cemetery. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and prepare to enter the land where restless spirits linger. Story 1. The Man Behind the Door. I work as a cemetery manager in the suburbs, a job not suited for the faint of heart. Beyond supervising burials, I often meet with the grief-stricken, the loved ones left behind. And it was during one such seemingly routine meeting that I had an experience I still can't forget. That week, I met a man named Antonio, around 30, Hispanic accent, eyes weighed down with sorrow. He came to buy a plot for his father, who was in palliative care. As we talked, Antonio showed me a photo of his dad, a gentle man's serene face, though sickness had drained him. I remember Antonio's gaze, full of sadness, but also love. Just days later, Antonio returned to arrange the funeral. His father had passed. The ceremony took place on a stormy day. Some say that's lucky, but the atmosphere was nothing short of grim. When the procession arrived, I stepped outside under the awning. Antonio sat in the car, eyes red, forcing a smile as he waved. I nodded back, then went inside to wait for them at the burial site. I followed in my truck. The service was somber rain tapping gently on umbrellas and the freshly dug headstone. I stood at a distance watching, making sure all went smoothly. When everyone left, I returned to the office to wrap up paperwork. But before ending the day, I did what I always do, drive around the cemetery once more, just to make sure no one was accidentally left behind. On my way back, I glimpsed a figure rushing between 2 rows of graves, disappearing behind a hedge. I honked, thinking someone lingered, but when I got out and followed, no one was there. I searched for 20 minutes, called out, nothing but rain tapping leaves and cold stones beneath my feet. Back at the office, I checked the security cameras. The weather made the footage glitchy. No clear movements. I was finishing the books and scanning the monitors when suddenly, the chapel door slammed shut. The noise shattered the silence, making me jump. I stepped into the foyer. "Is someone there?" I called. No answer. I looked around thinking it might be the wind. But then, my eyes locked onto a face, outside the window staring straight at me. An old man, ashen face, sad eyes. But what froze my blood? I recognized him. It was the man in Antonio's photo. His father. The man we buried, just hours ago. I stumbled back, heart pounding. He didn't move, just stared. I dashed to the window. No one. No footprints. No breath on the glass. The rain still fell. I stood motionless, listening. Only the wind and a chime ringing above the porch. Alone. I packed up, locked the office, and drove off. As I shut the main gate behind me, a chill wind grazed my neck. I turned instinctively, but nothing. At home, my wife asked why I was so quiet. I shook my head. It's just been a long day. I never told anyone what happened. Maybe I was tired. Maybe my mind played tricks. But that face, those eyes, I still remember them. Story 2. Laughter in the Graveyard. My name's Jeremy. This happened on a cold October night. The wind howled. My town lay silent, as if every soul was asleep, except us. My best friend and I, metalheads with a garage band, often drove around at 3 a.m. looking for inspiration. That night, bored of revving engines through the neighborhood, we decided to do something dumber, visit the old cemetery behind the town square. It was massive, split in half by a highway, both sides as wide and still as forests. We picked the older section, Rusted fences, creaky gate, and moss-covered gravestones no one had visited in a century. At first, it was fun. We shined flashlights over faded epitaphs, joked around pretending we were invincible. It was childish, maybe even disrespectful, but we figured no one underground cared. Then, under a massive pecan tree, we heard giggling, childlike, close. We froze. "Did you hear that?" I asked. He nodded, frowning. I figured maybe a motion-triggered toy on a kid's grave. Halloween was coming. People did weird things. But then my friend stared toward the cemetery edge, toward a dark thicket. "I see someone. Over there. Between those shadows." I squinted. Nothing. Then dry footsteps. Crunching leaves. We jumped up. Laughter again. Closer this time. We didn't speak. We ran. Down the hill toward our car on the trail. The laughter followed. It wasn't chasing. It was enjoying itself, like it fed off our fear. Heart racing, throat dry, I grabbed the door. My friend dove in. I glanced at the rearview mirror and froze. The back left door was ajar. We never opened it. No reason to. I turned. No one. But I didn't dare get out. We sped off, never looking back. At the next gas station we checked. The door was wide open. No damage. No one inside. But something had been there and left. No proof. No explanation. For weeks after, I kept waking up at 3 a.m., heart pounding, drenched in sweat. And sometimes in the dark, I still hear it. Giggling. Faint. But real. Story 3. The face in the window. I still remember that evening clearly, the sky glowing a strange red hue heavy with clouds, as if warning us of something. My friend Sean suggested exploring the old cemetery across town. I thought it was childish, but for some reason I agreed. The graveyard was small, maybe 100 headstones, but eerily old. Rusted gates, crooked stones, and a decaying chapel from the 1800s. We stepped over a short fence. Sean led the way, excited. I, however, felt eyes on me the moment I entered. The wind tugged my coat and the air smelled damp and strange. While Sean read tombstones aloud, I was drawn to the chapel. One of its windows was cracked, and in that brief second, I swear I saw someone staring out. A silhouette. Still. Unclear but unmistakable eyes. Empty. Cold. When I blinked, it vanished. I saw someone inside, I whispered, trying to stay calm. Sean got even more excited and circled the building, looking for a way in. I stayed by the graves, watching the window. Then a snap. I turned. An older man stood at the forest edge. Gray hair, long black coat, expressionless. He suddenly screamed, "Get out!" His voice exploded through the silence. My head spun. Everything faded to black. I woke on damp ground. Sean was dragging me through the woods. "Hurry, it's following us!" he shouted. We ran to the car, hearts racing. On the way home, Sean told me what he saw in the chapel, a satanic symbol drawn on the floor surrounded by cloth dolls with button eyes. He had run when he heard my scream and found me unconscious. We made it home safe. But I've only passed out once in my life, and it was in that graveyard after being screamed at by a stranger trying to scare away a spirit. To this day, whenever I drive by that cemetery, I still feel something watching me. Story 4. The man on the side of the road. It was July, my grandfather's birthday. He had passed away a few years earlier, and I made it a point to visit his grave on special days. The cemetery was about an hour's drive from where I lived. That day the sky was gray, the rain light and persistent, exactly the kind of weather that makes you want to stay in bed, not wander through gravestones. I arrived late. The rest of my family had come and gone earlier. The gatekeeper asked for the plot number, then waved me in. The cemetery was quiet, save for the rustle of trees in the breeze and the soft patter of rain on my windshield. I found his grave, laid a bouquet of fresh flowers, and closed my eyes to pray. When I opened them, I saw a man standing several rows away watching me. I blinked and recognized him instantly. My grandfather. Just like the old family photos. Same gray shirt. Same vacant stare. No expression, just an unsettling, hollow gaze. I stepped back. When I looked again, he was gone. I convinced myself it was my imagination. Maybe grief. Maybe the weather. I climbed into the car and drove off, eager to shake the unease. But what happened next shook me harder. Driving home along a lonely stretch called Prospect Road, no sidewalks, just forest on either side, I spotted a figure through the rainy windshield. A man standing at the edge of the road. I slowed, and my heart nearly stopped. It was him, my grandfather. I instinctively swerved tires, skidding on wet asphalt, spinning sideways before coming to a halt. When I looked back, he was gone. In his place, a deer stood silently among the trees. I tried to calm myself and kept driving, shaken to the core. Back home, I told no one. But that night at 2 a.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. Static. Hello, I said. Still static. Then just for a moment, I heard a voice. Familiar, warm, raspy. My grandfather's voice. Just a word or two. Then silence. The call ended. I sat in bed, frozen, shaking. I called the number back. This number is not in service. The next morning, I asked my provider to trace the call. They said no records existed, not enough data. Maybe I imagined it all. Maybe not. But every time I remember that voice in the static, I feel watched. From somewhere just out of reach. Story 5. The 2 a.m. call. I lost my grandfather a few years ago. He was the kindest man I knew, soft-spoken, wise, always there when I needed guidance. This year, on his birthday in July, I drove to visit his grave. Rain fell steadily. The air was heavy with gloom. As I entered the cemetery, I gave the plot number to the gatekeeper and continued in. It took a while to find the grave. I rarely visited, and the rain made everything look blurred and unfamiliar. No one else was around. I placed flowers on the stone, closed my eyes, and whispered a birthday message. When I opened my eyes, I wasn't alone. A man stood a few graves away, motionless, watching. White hair, worn coat, stiff posture. It was him, my grandfather. I blinked, rubbed my eyes. When I looked again, gone. I stood there, stunned. A mix of joy, fear, and disbelief washed over me. I tried to convince myself it was just grief playing tricks. On the way home, as my car passed through a stretch called Prospect Road, known for deer crossings, I spotted movement on the roadside. Another figure, tall, still. Again, it looked like him. I jerked the wheel. My car nearly hit a tree. When I glanced back, only a deer remained staring. That night, I went to bed early, emotionally drained. At 2 a.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. The screen glowed in the dark. I answered. Nothing, just static. I whispered, "Hello." No reply, just faint interference, and then unmistakably, his voice. Just a fragment, a few words I couldn't understand. I gasped. "Grandpa." The call cut. I called back. Invalid number. The next day, I asked the phone company to investigate. No record, no trace. To this day, I don't know what happened. But I still wonder. What if I hadn't answered? Or what if he had more to say? And I just couldn't hear it. We've all heard ghost stories told by others. But when you're the one living them, when you see what shouldn't exist, it stops being a story. If these tales made your heart race, share the video and let others feel the chill. And if you've lived a scary story of your own, leave it in the comments. Maybe next time, it'll be your voice we hear. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next darkness.